cannot get away. Incredible regrab.
You can't escape! You can't escape! You can't! You don't destruction!
Wow!
Wow!
Oh my god.
My loyal fans! Hey, hey.
任務を遂行する。終わりだ。
This will be another unique video as I'll be covering the first platform fighter grappler and also being the first ever platform grappler ever. And it will also be my first video talking about platform fighting games, so there's a lot here. He's also one of my favourite characters of all time, so I'm looking forward to covering my man, but we'll get to that monkey business later. What's good, fellas? Patriarch Panda here. No explosive intro because I'm freezing and I need my covers. I'm looking forward to today's video. If you want to see me cover one of the grandest grapplers of all time being Zangief, well, we gotta get 5,000 subscribers and I'll cover the most interesting version about him. So if you want to help out, be sure to like and subscribe, check out the Kofi, check out the membership system, as it's greatly appreciated and helps me out. I want to say thank you guys so much for checking out the previous grappler vids. There's been a lot of love and support for this series and I want to keep up. I really enjoy working on them. But let me get into, what does a platform grappler want? A platform grappler is like any other grappler where they'll sacrifice maybe amazing movement or amazing buttons to have a very oppressive, aggressive game plan. But the main difference being is that they might have good air movement or they can jump about, but they might lack recovery and have a tough time against projectiles. But if they ever get that throw or if they ever get to loop offense, they will be able to kill the opponent at 60%, and that is what makes a platform grappler so scary. Now that you know, let's head back to 1999 where the first game of its genre was ever created. Time for a smashing time! Super Smash Brother! Super Smash Bros. Came out in the January of 1999. I was born in 1999 on June, and I find that very funny because this game came out, Grow Mark of the Wolves came out, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike came out all in 1999. Continuing to prove that I was built for this genre. This game defined a genre known as the platform fighter, and it's often debated if this should be considered a fighting game. I think if you gotta outsmart your opponent with attacks in a fundamental way in a 1v1, we're playing a fighting game. Challenge my view on this. I want to see how consistent I can be. This game got some of the biggest names made by Nintendo to face each other in a brawl. He said the thing!
He's so silly! He's so silly!
Items were involved in this melee. The stages do matter, with spacing and platforms to jump in between the 3U/3DS edition! I'm so sorry for that, but we need that ADHD editing. There are two legal stages that are allowed to be played. Players played with items off to make the game a bit more competitive in this 1v1 game. But let's talk about the game mechanics and how it's really different to like every other fighting game you played, even 3D ones. It has a percentage based health system where the higher it gets, the more you get launched, so you want to be careful at high percents. The game does have shields for blocking, but you can't block grabs, and if you blocked enough attacks, your guard would eventually break, so you had to be careful when you were blocking. Throws can't be teched. Ooh, I wonder what he's foreshadowing.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
Every character could double jump, except if you played certain characters with unique jumps, like Jigglypuff with the multiple ones. You could dodge attacks by pressing shield and a direction. And you have normal with the A button, but if you use directions, you'd gain something called tilts. That's how Nintendo does simple inputs with attacks being easy access. The tilts cover the directions that you press and are pretty good for being safe pokes a lot of the time. If you go to your B button, that is your specials, being neutral, up and down, but no side specials in this game. They were added in Melee. Finally, you have smash attacks that can be done by pressing the attack button with the direction at the same time to do a big attack. These attacks tend to lead to a ton of damage and kills, but you have to be careful as whiffing them tend to mean you were open. Super Smash Bros. 64, the main mechanic was comboing. Comboing was the main thing about this game, so much so that there is a combo contest held every year, which I recommend you guys watch. They're really fun. Prints? Oh my god, prints? There's also edge guarding and holding onto platforms, but there's a whole lot with that. I just want to talk about what characters do. It's time for the GOAT. He's finally here, performing for you. If you know the words, you can join it too. Put your hands together if you want to clap as we take you through this monkey rap. Not gonna lie, I was a wee bit embarrassed in that. Donkey Kong is the big body grappler of the game. He is the first ever platform grappler of the genre, and he's also one of the first few characters that Nintendo created. Going back to 1980, you'll see DK's ancestor in the Donkey Kong game. The one in Donkey Kong Country is actually his great-grandson, and the one in the original game is his great-grandfather. Same goes for Mario and Jumpman. Donkey Kong loves bananas and will hunt down some funny Kremlin lad to get back his bananas. If I'm honest, I think this is way cooler than Mario vs Bowser. Just two lads fighting for either getting their bananas back or getting rid of monkeys. Right, you. Donkey Kong in Smash Bros. Has always stayed roughly the same. Being a big lad with decent speed, massive hits, and having strong throws. He tends to have lacking recovery, where he can get back horizontally but not vertically, and when it came to moves, they had to bring his country appearance into the game, and this is difficult in platformers where you don't have power-ups like Mario. Well, they got the carry, but that was about it. There wasn't really a lot of stuff referenced from country. More on that later. They had to get creative with Donkey Kong's move list, and I think they decided to be more of a monkey or gorilla, rather than like what he did in previous games, which I think was the correct play as everybody loves his moves. Let's get into his weaknesses before we talk about what made him unique and cool for the first ever platform grappler. The main problem with DK was that he was big, but he wasn't really that slow. His big body is more of a problem here than any other fighting game for 3 reasons. Easier to hit, so of course you had to be careful. This was a combo heavy Smash Brothers game, so it means it was easy to combo this guy into death, so getting hit meant getting comboed into death. The third main issue was block. In this game you could break guards by punching away at it, however there were ways to break it on True String. In some matchups, DK would rather take a hit than block, because if Yoshi got you with them running legs, he was losing his guard for a lot of damage. However, there is ways that he is slow. For example, his attacks, they come out actually fairly quickly, but the main issue is their recovery, or as Smash players say, N-lag, which sounds so weird. I like a lot of Smash terminology, but N-lag just sounds off to me. This means for DK to get a kill, he tends to need to set up for the kill. His approaches aren't that good, needed to rely on random jump-ins or swipes to get a turn. He lacks projectiles, which is a big deal in these games, as not having one to just throw out there definitely makes playing the character a bit awkward when it comes to that neutral position. His last big issue was his recovery. In these games, you want to get a good tool that can help you recover either horizontally or vertically. If he was down low, he was going to be ledged to death. There was no arguments about it. If he was getting back horizontally, it was obvious what he was going to do, and you had to be careful. It was either a meteor smash to kill him into the abyss, or he was kind of red on his up B and got knocked out. So recovery sucked on DK. DK was kind of weak in this game, but he was a grappler that was pretty saucy for the first ever platform grappler. So let's talk about the thing that made him interesting, which is how he was unique, cool, and how he could carry his way to a winning situation. DK is the tankiest character in the roster, capabilities to live at high percentages. It's more than likely you'll see a DK over 100 fighting for his life. He has big pokes like his tilts. He has some fun specials and one of the best grabs in the game. He has a solid knockout move like his up tilt, his aerial up tilt, up smash, forward smash, and his KO punch, his back throw. Genuinely, if he wanted to kill, he could do it pretty easily if you were that high percentage. One thing worth mentioning is that grapplers need a command grab to do their game plan. If they don't have a command grab, it doesn't work. This was a problem for Sakurai to solve, because how do you design a grappler in a game where you can't really give them a command grab as people are jumping about like madmen, and you already can't break throws, so there's no point giving them one. So how did you solve this problem? And I felt like Sakurai came up with a very smart idea to solve this. And the answer was his universal grab. Let's get into the specifics and what made him cool by talking about his throw. His throw animation was super strong, as throw in this game had no whiff recovery. So you could do this. Imagine Geef doing this. Yeah, nah, I'm good. He has a follow-up on this throw called G.R.A.B. This move is a reference to him tossing the barrels in his games, but how was it used here? It is a throw that is done from normal throw. You could view this as a special move attached to his normal throw. The carry did small damage, but it gave you full control of your opponent. You can carry them to the edge, make them guess for life, and at high percentages you could just run them off. Also, some characters, like Jigglypuff, you could actually time an infinite where you'd break out the carry and then you'd throw them again. It was really frame tight, but it was a pretty strong infinite. I do believe it's banned in tournaments though. This was a very cool idea, and you solved the issue of the grappler not having a command grab, which is you made his grab unique, you gave it more freedom, you made it creative. So I feel like Sakurai really solved a big issue here by going like, okay, so if we can't give him a grab, we need to make his grab do something cool. And the carry certainly did that. It gave you that like freedom of expression that grapplers like to have, either through their game plan or through their combos, but here you did it on the throw, which is a flip, in my opinion, of how the grappler tends to be unique. You've done it on the throw, and I like that. I think that's a beautiful thing. Next thing about his throw was his back throw. It did insane damage, doing 18%, and its main strength is attached to the kill percentage. It can kill Mario under 100%. This throw was murderous and set up for kill scenarios. It is the best throw in the game for speed, power, and kill potential. Get that gorilla energy and just yeet for dear life. His up B was pretty solid. It had iframes in the first 5 frames and it did good damage with pushback. Using this defensively out of shield wasn't a bad idea. His other specials like neutral B was pretty strong. You could charge a punch, and if you saw a KO opportunity, you could cash out and just send it. A pretty good KO move, but you had to chill on it. It was good to charge this tool rather than just throw it out there, you know? His normal and smash attacks are situational. Air normal stood out as pretty long and had a ton of kill potential. However, they were linear, so you gotta use them well. Back air had good edge guarding, up air was good for comboing and killing, down air was great for getting kills into the KO punch, and forward was a really good combo starter and meteor smash to get kills. So honestly, every aerial tool had a use. There wasn't a tool that was going ignored, and it was the same for his tilts as well. Very cool to see how they went about the grappler and a platform fighter, how to solve the issue of a lack of a command grab, and how to make his normals fun when you didn't really have much reference material. So Sakurai really did bits with this character. But he wasn't that strong in the meta of Super Smash Bros. 64, so we had to ask the question, who were the folks that made him work? As Tackles, the GOAT of the current era, did the combo contest and everything. An amazing N64 player when it comes to Smash Bros. And he really stood out with his Donkey Kong. He actually created an argument that Donkey Kong's pretty solid, but if he noticed he was going to lose, damn it, I went straight to Yoshi, and I respect that, I really do. There's other iterations of Donkey Kong. He's very cool with a lot of his own flaws in different games, but besides that, main characters stayed the same, and the only thing he got was his headbutt, a side B guard break tool. So kind of like Potemkin in that regard, where it sets up like a guard break to do whatever you want, and his carry got a bit more sauce where you're allowed to jump with them and actually do aerial throws with them in Ultimate. They solved such a big issue, a big fundamental issue with a grappler being, how do you design a grappler without a command grab? And they came across a pretty good answer. Make the normal throw unique and give it a ton of creativity. And that's how he stood out, and that's how they did it from then. Donkey Kong's been the exact same since 64, but the question is, what did they do with other grapplers? And they tend to give them grabs, air throws, they tend to give them unique things on their throws, like of course Incineroar with the parry into side B. So that was something I quite liked, is that they added grabs down the line, but they try to add some bonus mechanics to it, because they're well aware a throw by itself is not that interesting. But yeah fellas, that'll be the end of today's video, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. Try to get to 5,000 subscribers, so it would be greatly appreciated if you guys were able to do that. Check out the Kofi, check out the membership system, as it helps me try and build up the channel and all that stuff, and it gives me funding to help do these videos. So yeah, as you know, platform grapplers are up for suggestions, so go ahead, I'd like to see what you guys suggest. But yeah guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, love to see the suggestions. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya!